This is John, a 28-year-old independent truck driver. He drives long distances, which forces him to be on the road most of the time. On his way, a shiny sign on the side of the road grabs his attention. It's for a casino located down the road. After 3 seconds of contemplation, he makes the obvious decision to try his luck at the casino. John parks his truck and enters the gambling floor, heads to the cashier's cage, gets $200 worth of chips, and sits down at the blackjack table. Seconds later, an attractive girl approaches him and asks what he wants to drink. "I'll take the casino special," he says. Drinks arrive and John starts playing. An hour goes by, and after a couple of wins and many losses, John is up to his last chips. He plays another hand, loses all chips, heads to the nearby ATM, withdraws another couple hundred, and sits back at the table. Soon enough, another attractive girl shows up with another drink. This one he didn't ask for. "It's on the house," she says. John is so immersed in the game that he doesn't realize that hours have gone by. It was almost 1 a.m., and despite the long day he'd had, John felt no signs of fatigue or boredom since he got in the casino. Maybe he was stressed out with work lately and he needed some time to himself, or maybe he lost the concept of time in the casino. Suddenly, cheering noises arose, flashy lights appeared, and all the casino's attention shifted towards one of the slot machines. A player just hit a big win. John gave the guy the envy smirk and got up to hit the bathroom. The casino is not that big, but the trip to the bathroom somehow took a long time. On his way back, John got distracted by the roulette table. He got some chips and put everything on black, forgetting that he was already at the blackjack table before heading to the restroom. 13 black. John just doubled his money in just 20 seconds. Adrenaline arose in his blood. He felt lucky and had a sense of control. John knew it was going to be a long night, but what John didn't know is that he was not in control and will never be. Everything around him is designed to keep him in the casino longer. The longer he stays, the worse his odds get. How is the casino so good at keeping him playing? And why does John keep spending his hard-earned money, despite knowing that the odds are against him? Zoufry. What keeps gamblers glued to casino machines and tables is a pure reflection of human behavior. Casinos use every trick in the book so that they make sure that the house always wins. From the general design of the facility to the most intricate details, everything is calculated. Funny enough, casinos don't rely on luck. It all started when John entered the casino. The first thing he did was exchange real $100 bills with plastic-colored discs. Casino chips are not just for convenience or aesthetics. Chips are made to desensitize players about the money they're losing. After all, they're just plastic chips. It's the oldest trick in the book, but it never falls out of style. However, that's not enough. When John was sitting at the blackjack table, he was offered a free drink. Remember? Casinos are not that nice. Everything they do is part of their business model, even if it looks or sounds kind of them. Alcoholic beverages are often offered by casinos. Policies may differ from one establishment to another, but in many cases, players are either offered a free drink or, in some cases, whatever and as much as the player wants. Casinos are well aware that hungry people might stop gambling, and sober people might make wise decisions, like maybe I won't just put it all on black. They aim to build an association in your mind between freebies and the casino. The irony is that you've probably paid for your food 10 times over in gambling losses. But for many, getting free stuff is another reason not to leave. Earlier that night, when John felt salty about the guy who won big at the slot machine, his envious reaction wasn't that spontaneous. His envy was triggered by none other than the casino. One of the oldest marketing tricks used, not only by casinos but also by regular companies, is creating the fear of missing out. You see, whenever someone does hit that rare big win on a machine, bright lights flash and sounds blare, and when someone rakes in the cash on the tables, cheers arise. These celebrations create a false sense of possibility that keeps other players bleeding chips. even though someone else's win does nothing to increase the chances you'll do the same. If a player starts thinking, if I stay long enough, I might get lucky, that's usually when things start to go south. Earlier that night, right after John's envious smirk at the slot machine winner, he headed to the restroom, and if your memory's good, you'd remember that John's trip to the bathroom took him way longer than it should. As always, that's intentional. Contrary to the approach taken by most establishments, bathrooms in casinos are located deep within the building, not conveniently near the doors or the gaming tables. If you want to relieve yourself, you must walk deeper into the casino and past many more opportunities to try your luck. The reason John got distracted on his way back by the roulette table. Casinos' tactics are almost endless. Some are quite obvious, like the absence of clocks to push gamblers to lose track of time, the placement of ATMs close to the highest earning games, and others are quite out there, like pumping additional oxygen from pressurized tanks, so that the gamblers feel refreshed, awake, and able to gamble for longer. Although these tactics have become linked to casinos, one could argue that all of these are just bullshit. In fact, most entertainment establishments and even regular companies don't have clocks. ATMs are always strategically placed everywhere, in airports, malls, and stadiums. Oxygenation in a closed room full of people and some places full of cigarettes and cigar smoke is sometimes necessary. Placing toilets in the back of an entertainment space could also be more convenient for aesthetic purposes. So, what is the real reason why casinos are that addictive? What's the secret hack that makes them a place where people celebrate, even when they're losing money? From the beginning of time, numerous civilizations have tried to crack the code on the impact of architecture and design on the human psyche. For some reason, physical spaces have always influenced our emotions. Proportions, colors, materials, light, they all dictate what we feel in a certain environment. Casinos use these exact concepts. In the 90s, there was a dominant casino design style, the Friedman design. Bill Friedman is a recovering gambling addict who used his experience to shape many of today's casinos. He intended to figure out how to keep players staying inside the casinos for as long as possible. He innovated what's called the grocery store design. He came up with 13 design principles. According to Friedman, casinos should be designed in a maze-like layout. This design pushes for chaos and higher information rates. Machines and tables are placed almost in an arbitrary way, with narrow passages in between, making the games the center of attention. Low ceilings and, in most cases, no windows. Friedman wants you to start gambling as soon as you step inside the casino. Floors are covered in bizarre, flashy carpets to direct your vision towards the games. Warm colors and lighting to enforce a home-like feeling. Segregated rooms and sections to encourage more exploration from players, as you're more inclined to see what's behind the next door. Friedman believed that no space should be wasted, and gambling activity should be available straight away. The Friedman design dominated casinos for a very long time. At the time, it was considered revolutionary. But that, until it no longer was, because soon later, another casino designer would revolutionize the way casinos work. Roger Thomas, the man who redesigned Vegas. He threw out all the usual rules and instead centered the focus on how to make players feel. The playground design.
If you think about it, the traditional layout makes no sense. People don't want to make bets when they feel trapped, overwhelmed, or confused. That's not the mood you want.
In his style of casino design, there's plenty of opportunity to take a breath and revitalize the spirit. The casino would become a place of hangout, rather than a warehouse filled with machines. Thomas's design principles align with a new movement in architecture at the time, the contemporary style. A fusion of minimalism and sophistication. Instead of windowless, lifeless rooms, he incorporated big, bright, open spaces. The guy literally threw all of Friedman's rules out the window. Thomas's vision was about inviting players into a relaxed and welcoming environment, with clear lines of vision and easy-to-navigate spaces, so they'd be more inclined to stay and place riskier bets. Casinos shifted to higher ceilings, European-inspired furniture, and large spaces overall. They also started playing more on players' senses. Background music, Certain smells wafted through the ventilation systems, and natural elements introduced to the design, such as vegetation and water fountains, and calmer color palettes. The goal behind the playground design is to transform the perception of gambling from a stressful win-or-lose situation into an enjoyable, fun experience, where the player's motives are not to make a profit, but to just have a good time. This design model manipulates the gambler's way of thinking to the point where the player considers the money lost as nothing more than a fee for the pleasant experience. As efficient as the Friedman model is, and as genius as Thomas's playground revolutionary design is useless without predictable human behavior. You see, casinos are not the only companies that study and influence human behavior to keep us longer. Streaming services, social media platforms, and other industries use almost the same methods. After all, maybe casino designers are not that genius. Maybe we're just greedy, attention-seeking, predictable, habit-loving creatures. We let you decide. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.